Hello, my most amazing artists. Today we're getting back to working on our realistic looking self portraits, trying to avoid the no board things like lollipop necks or circle heads, dot eyes, L noses, hill shoulders, all of those things we talked about last week. So to start out with, I follow my guide, starting with the letter U, drawing a neck, shoulders, a shirt, and then ears. When I draw my hairline, I want to make sure it's like a roller coaster. I get on my roller coaster around one ear and then ride it up and over looking in the mirror and end the roller coaster ride at my other ear. I'm making sure it's not just a straight across roller coaster. That would be boring and not realistic. And I look at the shape of my hair to draw the outline of the top of it. If it's long and comes down behind my shoulders, I can show that. Or if it's short and ends at a point maybe by my ears, if I was a boy, I would show that too. Then I work on drawing my eyes. Today we're trying not to just draw circles for eyes. I would recommend drawing an arch and then another arch on top for the eyebrows. That way your eyes are a football shape and you can put that circle for your iris of your eye inside. But of course, don't forget your eyebrows. If you didn't have eyebrows, it would look pretty weird. So please make sure to include those arches above your eyes. Everybody has them. Then if you want to, you can put eyelashes, you can make different types of noses. But remember, we're trying not to make triangle noses or L noses today. So you can look at those guides on your tables about how to draw different kinds of noses. When it comes to your mouth, I would draw your lips. Even if you're smiling with your teeth showing, you still have lips, yes, even boys, so include those too. Then, if you would like to include different accessories like earrings or necklaces, whatever you want, you can include those in your self-portrait too. Now today, we'll be talking about what we were wearing in our self-portrait later on, so we'll get to that. But first, if you didn't want to draw that U and follow the guide by yourself, you could do a tracer. Now the tracers do not fit very well in your sketchbook, but they will fit on your big paper. Your self-portrait has to be at least as big as the head, neck, and shoulder tracer, making sure that your eyes and eyebrows aren't way up by your forehead because you do have that hairline with hair laying on your forehead. So make sure that your eyes and your eyebrows are in the middle of your face near your ears. Then don't forget your nose underneath those eyes and your mouth. And then of course your chin. These are different ways that you could show your mouth and try to make it a little bit more realistic looking. Always look in that mirror for details to make sure that you make it look like you as possible. This is your self-portrait. When you are done in your sketchbook, you're going to raise your hand and I will come around and check it. If you've already done this, then this is great because then you can start thinking about the clothing that your self-portrait will be wearing. Today you're going to get to create your self-portrait as what you want to be when you grow up. So today when you get it back, if you already started drawing on your skin color paper, you'll have a sticky note. That sticky note might say that you need to go back and erase some lines or make it bigger or work on certain areas, or it might say that you're ready to start tracing with Sharpie. If you are, you're going to carefully trace over your lines with that Sharpie marker and then erase your pencil lines in the safety zone of your letter L. After you draw on your big paper and then erase your pencil lines, and you make sure that you always outline all the important details in Sharpie, then you can start thinking about what your person will be wearing. This is why it's important to create that head, neck, and shoulders big enough so that you have room to draw all of these awesome details. If you didn't use the majority of your paper, this is going to be way harder to show what you want to be when you grow up because you only have a little bit of space to do that. So today, I already am what I want to be when I grow up because I'm already grown up and I am an art teacher and that's always what I wanted to be. So today, I'm going to show myself as a teacher and I do that by showing my teacher ID on my shirt and then I'm going to draw an apron. Now I can't see the full apron or my full body, so I'm just showing the view that I would see in the mirror if I was looking at what I was wearing that day as my uniform. So I'm going to show that I have the top of my apron tied around my neck and then have a pocket where I have some art supplies in. You want to give just a little hint of what it is that you want to be when you grow up based on your outfit. If you wanted to be a police officer, you could show that by their uniform, by their badge. If you wanted to be a firefighter, you could show that also by their uniform and the colors of their uniform, and even maybe a hat if you could include that. We might want to include stuff like that later on after you draw all the important details of your portrait. We can talk about how we could add different pieces of paper on later for accessories. But if you are finished with your artist uniform, or in your case, if you wanted to be something else when you grow up, then you can finish that uniform and start to add some color, baby color. When we add color today, you will be using oil pastels, but these are special oil pastels because not only do they just work like paint, but they're going to turn into paint. There's something called water soluble, which means that when we add water to them, they actually turn into paint. So I'm coloring very carefully only in my hair. I'm starting with my hair because it's one of the most important colors to get right. You're probably not going to have your exact hair color in the oil pastel bin. You're going to have to do a little bit of mixing just like we did with our skin tone. My hair color is dirty blonde, which was close to my skin color by adding some yellow, some brown, and some white, knowing that I will be mixing this together like paint so I can layer on those colors. Then I do the whites of my eyes, making sure my oil pastel was nice and clean. I can always use the sides of my papers, knowing that I will be cutting out the background to clean off my oil pastel. Then, even for my eyebrows, I don't just use brown. I look in the mirror and check, and they're a little bit lighter than that color brown, so I add some yellow. Then I do the insides of my eyes, the real color that they are. So look in the mirror. If your eyes are green, you could do green mixed with dark green, maybe some light green in there if they're hazel. You could add some brown. You could add whatever color it is. I could add dark blue in here. Then for the iris or the pupil, after that, I add that black dot very small. Use the black oil pastel very wisely because it's powerful and you cannot erase oil pastel. So it's important that you take your time when you're laying your colors and only drawing or coloring in the areas that you are adding color to today, which is not your skin. We already painted that. So you're going to be coloring your hair, your eyebrows, your eyes, your lips, and then your clothes. But we are leaving the skin of the face, the ears, and the neck the skin color that we painted. You wouldn't want to color over all of the hard work that we did by mixing your own unique skin color. So I'm going to color in very carefully. Notice that when I use my oil pastel to color, I do a color blocking trick where I outline the area that I'm going to color in by starting on the outside of the shape and then coloring it in. That means that I'm going to stay in the lines a whole lot easier by outlining it first and then coloring in that shape. So if I color in that area that I already made a rectangle around, well, now I don't have to worry about accidentally coloring outside of the lines. I'm going to do the same thing for my shoulders, making sure I do the green only where I want that green, not running into my teacher ID badge, and doing my best job of coloring inside the lines and not smearing the oil pastel with my hand as I color along. Notice I carefully pick up my hand or turn my paper as I need to color a new section. If I rubbed or rolled my hand across that paper, it would smear all the oil pastel together and you cannot erase oil pastel. When you are completely done adding your color on just your hair, your eyebrows, your eyes, your mouth, any other accessories, and your shirt or uniform, then you will be able to use that water that creates the water-soluble part that turns the oil pastel into paint. You want to pick an appropriate size paintbrush, so if you're painting a large area like your hair, you'd want to pick the bigger one. If you dip in the water and it starts to drip, you wipe it on the lip. Just like you would with paint, you're going to wash your brush in between switching the colors. Even though you're not picking up any paint with your brush, you are mixing that together to make it turn into paint. So if I went from my pink earring to my blonde hair, it would get paint all into my hair of the pink earring color. So I'm washing my brush every different place that I go. You'll notice if I use too much water, like in the space by my earring, that it bleeds into my hair. So you want to make sure not to use too much water. Make sure that you turn any area that you colored with oil pastel into paint by brushing over it with that water. Making sure not to run over your lines or over your colors so that they bleed together. Don't use too much water, but just turn all that area into paint. That way you can't see the lines that you were doing while you colored. It should make it blend together and smooth nicely like it's real. So we're painting in the style of Frida Kahlo, and she drew things looking pretty realistic. So we're going to try to do our best job today and do our very best work turning this into a painting and painting those realistic colors of our eyebrows, our eyes, our lips, and then our hair. And then you can come up with what you want to be when you grow up. Frida Kahlo wanted to be an artist, and I did too. So I put myself in what an artist would wear or what an art teacher would wear. But you can put yourself in whatever outfit you want to be when you grow up and what you think that person would wear. All right, artists, have an awesome time today and make sure you clean up when you're done. You can use an art wipe for your hands and then your area if you have oil pastel on them. Please make sure that you put any wet papers on the drying rack, and any dry papers that you just used Sharpie or oil pastel today can go in your table folder. All right, artists, have fun.